Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes so sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. Not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack's at Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculous the insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proset, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes are sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Hello, my friends. Hello. Hi. We're going old school tonight. We're going old school. We're going to, because the Wi-Fi is so shoddy here. Old school webcam right on the laptop. We're doing bare bones lighting. We're not plugging anything in like the second screen because it drains too much from the, bandwidth, I guess. And so we're just going to go old school. Do you like my hat? Thank you. There's a lovely woman who paints these on the beach, and she'll make whatever you want. And she happened to have this Dave Matthews Fire Dancer one. And I was like, yeah, I want that. I think I need to have that. Hope it's not like one of those things that, like when you're in Hawaii and you buy a Hawaiian shirt and you get home and you're like, when the hell am I ever going to wear this thing again? So I do. I love this hat. And I can see that it's very delayed right now. The latency. Wait. Okay, no. All right. My phone was behind. Hi, guys. You. Yeah, so how about those Patriots, huh? How about those Patriots? I must have confused everyone yesterday in the hotel bar when I was wearing a CU tank top and a Free Karen Reed hoodie. They must have been like, which team are you rooting for exactly? What a great game that was. What a great game. I was shocked though that Patriots didn't get to Denver until Saturday and the game was Sunday, because let me tell you something. Having lived in Colorado for 7 or 8 years when I went to college and loved it so much that I stayed and went to law school in Colorado too, the altitude is real. Altitude sickness is real. And the fact that the team flew in on Saturday to play a game in a mile-high city the next day is amazing. Not just that a 23-year-old kid is going to the Super Bowl. That is so exciting. Could you imagine? You're 23 years old. You're going to the Super Bowl. Imagine winning the Super Bowl at 23. Is like the whole rest of your life downhill from there. Like the Mary Lou Retton syndrome. Oh, have you seen Mary Lou Retton lately? That poor girl, that DUI. For some reason, that DUI footage popped up in my feed the other day, and I watched, and I was like, oh, Mary Lou. Oh, Mary Lou, what are you doing? What are you doing? So it was amazing. It was an amazing game. And then they had the whole lobby here. We watched my sister and I watched the game over at the golf course because that's where the spa was. And, I'm stuck in Cancun. My flight gets canceled. What do? I go to the spa. We had like almost the whole bar at the golf course to ourselves. And there were a lot of Patriots fans in there too. And then we came back to the lobby. This hotel is like a compound. There's like 3 different like areas of the resort with 3 different hotel buildings, and there's villas and there's all kinds of things. But in the hotel lobby where we are staying, which is where the venue is, where Dave and Tim played right on the beach. Yesterday they had the lobby set up with all couches, and if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a photo of it, and they had like a giant screen TV and a lot more Seahawks fans here than LA fans, which was interesting. You haven't seen the Cardi B video? I put it on my Instagram. I don't know if I can share my screen right now because, you know, we have low bandwidth, but you got to see this. Hold on. I'll pull it for you if I can find it. How are you guys doing with this weather? They're telling me that I can't even get a flight out of here until like Wednesday or Thursday. I'm like, really? I'm sorry. What? But I mean, I suppose there's worse places I could be, right? There's worse places I could be. Hold on one second. I think the Patriots posted it on their Instagram, right? And it's Cardi B saying, "We going to the Super Bowl. We going to the Super Bowl, baby." And it's awesome, man. We loved Cardi B's trial, and we are very happy for Cardi B and for her baby daddy. I hate that word, but it's true. That's what he is. Stephon Diggs, whose arraignment, coincidentally, was adjourned until after the Super Bowl. So that's pretty lucky, right? I think it was the Patriots that put it up. Where is it? Let me find it real quick for you because it was pretty awesome. And they posted like 7 million things since yesterday. What are we doing? We have to look at my Instagram to find it. Wait, I got it. I think. Well, where's the audio? Instagram doesn't really like to come on the desktop. Well, all right, here we go. Hold on. Let's see if we can make this happen without my second screen. I tried pulling I had my second screen plugged in, except it didn't want to play nicely. So let's go, Cardi. Do, 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 do. Come on. All right, there she is.
Super Bowl! Let's go! Take it to New England.
Right, it's gonna.
We're going to the Super Bowl! Let's go! Take it to New England.
That was
We're
one of
going
them.
to the Super Bowl!
Let's go. Why does she have green hair? You know why she has green hair? Because it's a wig. Duh. Remember in the trial when the attorney said to her, so like yesterday you had blonde hair and today your hair is black. So like, what color is your hair really? And she was like, duh, it's a wig. Duh. I don't know when I can fly home. They're telling me Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not worried about it. I've been refreshing my browser all day. And I was like, you know what? I can refresh my browser 100 times. And it's going to be the same. So I might as well come on and talk to you guys for a while. And then go back and refresh my browser later. Thank you so very much, Holly, for being here for 11 months and for your compliment. I love you so much. And Gigi, thank you so much for your gifting 5 memberships. Welcome to the 5 new members. Welcome. I met a cupcake in Cancun. I met a cupcake. Oksana found me night 2 on the sand, and she came over and she said, "Oh my God, Melanie, I'm so excited to meet you." And then like I gave her a hug and then she ran away. And then I realized that she had sent me an email like once before. So I found her email and I wrote her back and I'm like, why'd you run away? What are you doing? She's like, I felt so bad, interrupting you. And I'm like, no, let's hang out. So we hung out last night at the show. Was it last night? I don't even know what day it is anymore, you guys. Yeah, it was last night at the show. Oksana, shout out to Oksana. I hope you are getting home, or she was at the airport last I heard, but she's amazing. Cupcakes are everywhere. You know what I love about Oksana too? She came here by herself. Queen. She's like, yeah, I heard it was coming. And so I had a trip to come to Cancun for work anyway. So I just planned it around the same time. And that is awesome. Corey's in Cancun too? Oh, and you know what else is happening? So this weekend coming up, Fish is here. I'm not really into fish. So I don't really, I want to stay for that. But the weekend before we got here was Crash My Playa, which was like Luke Bryan and some other like country people. And so for the entire month of January, there's a company called Playa Luna that rents out the whole entire resort. and they have music festivals every weekend. So it was Crash My Playa, Dave and Tim, Fish is next week, and I forget what else they did. Something else. I don't know. Look at Segi Beach, Segi Beach or Beach. I don't know. 84 says she loves traveling alone, dining alone, going to movies alone, and with people too. That's amazing. That's amazing. It took me like I love being alone now, but it took me a very long time. I want to say like I turned 50 and then I felt like it was okay being alone. And my girls are so independent. They like go to the movies alone. They go to concerts alone. They don't care. And I love that for them. Girls are doing it for themselves. Yes, my yacht is amazing. Thank you so much, Stitch and Solve. I saw Toy made a new video of the cupcake yacht and I'm loving it. I just have to tell Toy that in the bottom right corner, it says Melanie's cupcake yacht or something, and Melanie is spelled wrong. So I can't like play it in good faith until my name is spelled correct. It was really amazing. Oh, you guys love Trampled by Turtles in Minnesota? Yeah, Trampled by Turtles played. They were awesome. I put some of the video up on my Instagram. They played some Grateful Dead. They played Peggy O. They also do an amazing version of Tom Petty's Wildflowers, which how ironic is that? Because we were just talking about Tom Petty the other day when I named my stream. It's time to move on because that's a Tom Petty song. And how awesome is that? What do you mean? You can do super chats. What are you talking about? I can see it on my phone. I don't know. Lots of snow, but a lot of fun, says Sharing Sharon. Thank you so very much for being here for 27 months. Sharon is the president, I believe, the president or vice president of our Rage Crochet Club. We have a Rage Crochet Club here, and you don't really, there's no formal, joining or anything. I don't even think they really have meetings, but it's just people who get so outraged that they just love to crochet. And then they send me lovely pictures of the things that they have crocheted during their outrage and the streams that we cover. Wildflower is here and says, that's my namesake, Tom Petty's Wildflower. Do you know Trampled by Turtles? You should check out their version of it, because it is. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere out at sea. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And Kat Randall, I love Kat Randall too, says, I was having attorney Melanie Little withdrawal after moving snow for about 18 hours. This is perfect time to rest up and listen. Perfect. Well, luckily, the resort offered us a really great rate to be able to stay because so many people were stranded. And I don't know if I'm in Cancun. Yeah. I don't know if people are going to be able to get here for fish because like JFK is shut down. There's people trying to get to Boston today. They went to the airport. They were having them fly from Cancun to Dallas to Boston. The flight wound up getting canceled. They're all back here now. And I'm glad I didn't go sit at the airport just to have my flight canceled. But, like they say, this is like a once in a lifetime storm. I've been watching Ryan Hall, y'all. Man. That guy goes for 12 hours straight. You guys watch Ryan Hall, y'all? And he's on YouTube and he does like 12-hour streams. He doesn't stream every day, but when there's a weather event like this, I love watching him because he is so excited about the weather. He gets so excited about the weather. And I love that people are excited about something, anything, just be excited about it. They're saying another big storm next week and maybe I should just stay. I don't know. And Janelle says, I got so jealous. I booked 2 vacations yesterday. Enjoy. So many people said that they next year are coming. Listen, buy the tickets, buy this. Oh, speaking of buying the tickets, who do you think was FaceTiming me this morning while I was sitting in the pool trying to get my tan on? The little one. She's like, Ma, Harry Styles pre-sales today. We got to do it. And so she got on. And she was like, there was 100 people in front of her. He's doing a residency at Madison Square Garden, in case you didn't know, 30 nights starting in August, September, October. And she got on for whatever night she wanted. And there was 100 people in front of her. And then all the seats were gone. Then she got on a different night and there were 250,000 people ahead of her. And then she was like, but, I'm going to be in Hawaii, so maybe I should just go to Australia to see him instead because it's closer. I'm like, yeah, no. I've seen Harry in concert, too. Let me tell you what, I would go again. When she was 6, I took her to her first concert, and she was a huge One Direction fan. And so it was so expensive to go see One Direction at, like, Giant Stadium or wherever they were playing at the time. And so she was 6. She wanted to see One Direction. I was like, who am I to stand in a girl's way of seeing her favorite band for the first time? And so we flew to Buffalo, New York, and we saw One Direction there. And let me tell you something, they put on an amazing show. It was so great. We saw Harry last time he came to Madison Square Garden. That was a couple of years ago. He was on a really great show. He really does. I went to Lady Gaga with some of my kids too. I love it. I love it all. And Katie Brown says that Ryan Hall, y'all, was amazing regarding his coverage of the storm. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And he does it for like 24 hours at a time, which is crazy. And writer Arwen said, left the snow behind for California. Come back soon. Thanks for reduce. And Gigi says, yes, like, yeah, I am. I'm stuck here. There's no flights. They're like, oh, we're going to add flights. And then they didn't add flights. So like, do I want to fly to New York through Detroit? No. Because then what? I get stuck in Detroit. Do I want to fly to New York through Minneapolis? No. And then they offered me a flight through Boston. Like, I'm going to fly to Boston and fly back to New York? No. How about I'll just wait until I get the flight that works, or more people cancel? I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. Gigi said I would get stuck in a BRB next to my favorite Massachusetts judge. B&B? Thank you. News update from Scott Messerschmidt. A judge granted Tiffany Adams' request to delay the sentencing, which was scheduled for Wednesday due to weather. It will now be held on February 2nd. Thank you very much. That is the grandma in Oklahoma responsible, the ringleader responsible for, putting together the posse who took the lives of the 2 Kansas moms who went missing, Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Thank you, Scott Messerschmidt, for catching us up on that. Aiden's hearing is, what day is it again? Wait, hold on. Let's say it is Monday, January 26th, 2026. 1/26/26. Ooh, where are my numerologists in the chat? Aiden's case has been pushed to this Friday, correct? So it's going to be this Friday, this upcoming Friday. Right? The 20th. Wait, I'm in the wrong year. Hold on. I'm in the wrong month. Yeah, this coming Friday the 30th, right? 9:30. Also happening same day in Plymouth Superior is the Alex Green bail hearing. The Alex Green bail hearing. Remember we talked about that the other day? He's the guy who shot a guy in the face point blank outside of a Hyannis Irish pub on the Saturday before St. Patrick's Day. And he wasn't getting bail. And then, because first-degree murder charges usually don't get bail in Massachusetts. But once Alex Green hired Rosemary Scapiccio and Kevin Reddington, Judge Cannoni granted him $100,000 cash bail. And apparently in the squad car on the way to, his arrest, after he got arrested, he was saying, don't you know who I am? Don't you know who my family is? And he was supposed to start working at the Barnstable Sheriff's Office like the next week. So because of a conflict, that case was moved from the Cape to Plymouth Superior. And of course, Judge Cannoni is assigned to that case. And that is happening also this coming Friday. Wait a second. Aaron Spencer, I think they announced there's a new judge, but did they announce a date? Thank you, True Crime Junkie. I saw Bob and Allie put up that they picked the new judge. But is there a new date yet? I don't know because I didn't have time to watch it. Courts are closed today. It doesn't really do a lot. It doesn't push the scheduling. What normally happens is anything that was scheduled for today will get a new date, but anything that is on Friday will still be held on Friday. See what I'm saying? So everything that was supposed to happen today they get new dates. It'll be rescheduled according to the convenience of the parties. It doesn't have anything to do with what's happening on Friday. Also tomorrow, I have in my calendar the Sarah Grace Patrick bond hearing. I don't know if that's happening tomorrow still. No new date. Thank you, Green Eyed Southern Girl. And so I don't know if that's happening because I haven't had a chance to look at the docket in Georgia, but I know that they had some ice down there. I don't know if it's affecting their court calendar. And also I have in my calendar for tomorrow, the Derek Todd trial is supposed to start in Middlesex County. That's the rheumatologist who's accused of essaying a lot of patients of his. Do you guys remember that case? So I don't know what's happening because I haven't had a chance to look at it. But what I do know is a couple of tragic things that I wanted to bring to your attention that are upsetting me greatly. And that is, one thing is the plane crash in Bangor, Maine. I am devastated about this. There was a private jet that took off the day that the snowstorm started. And there were 7 people on the plane, and they've just announced that I think 6 of them passed away, and 1 I think is fighting for his or her life. But something that just broke earlier. It was devastating. The pictures of that plane crash were devastating. And it says there was just a New York Post alert a few moments ago that if the first victim in the deadly Maine plane crash was ID'd as the attorney wife, a prominent Texas law firm founder. And it is so sad. There were 8 people on the plane. Okay. I'll just read to you quickly. I don't want to show you the pictures because they're graphic and they're horrifying. And being that I got to get on a plane this week, I'm like, that's why I shouldn't go anywhere. I don't want to go. I don't want to be landing on an icy runway. The attorney wife of an elite Texas law firm partner was among 6 people killed when a private jet flipped over and burst into flames at a Maine airport over the weekend, just after a voice over the radio said, "Let there be light." Tara Arnold was killed when the plane registered to her husband, Kurt Arnold's personal injury law firm, Arnold and Itkin Law, crashed Sunday evening, with friends recalling her as a phenomenal person after her death was confirmed, according to WMTW. "I am close friends with Kurt and Tara Arnold," said Leslie Briones, a local Texas lawmaker. "My heart hurts for them and their children and their families. I worked at Arnold and Itkin for a time, and so I know them well. This is just a tragedy, and in particular, Tara, she is just a phenomenal person, a bold leader, and somebody who had a heart of service," Briones added. The plane, a twin-engine Bombardier Challenger 600, was taking off from a snow-covered runway at Bangor International Airport around 7:45 p.m. when it crashed back into the runway and exploded, killing everyone on board, officials said. Oh, so now they're saying everyone on board. I mean, this was just about an hour ago. A moment before takeoff, a voice was eerily heard over the flight's radio communications saying, "Let there be light," although it's unclear what that meant. "All traffic is stopped on the field," an air traffic controller then quickly shouted. "Aircraft upside down. We have a passenger aircraft upside down," a controller added as emergency crews rushed to the wreck. The snow was, there was a lot of snow and a lot of fog and a lot of ice. Arnold was part of a prominent Texas family known for multi-million-dollar donations to Lone Star State Republican causes, as well as to this Texas Longhorns football program. It remains unclear what role the ongoing winter storm Fern may have played in the wreck. Well, I saw the pictures of the crash. It looked to me like it was full of snow and ice. Several other planes were taking off before the wreck, but the airport was also de-icing aircraft waiting on the tarmac. I mean, there was a ground stop at JFK and LaGuardia. I don't know what was going on in Maine, but I don't, this really upsets me. Am I frozen? Because I'm looking at my phone and I look frozen on my phone. Well, if I'm frozen, just, hear my voice. I think you can hear my voice. The private jet had landed in Maine just after 6 p.m. after departing Houston and had been sitting in the cold since then, and it remains unclear whether it had been part of the de-icing procedures. Bombardier Challenger 600s have had a history of takeoff troubles during inclement cold weather takeoffs, with small ice accumulations being known to affect the craft, according to aviation consultant Jeff Gazzetti. Wait, let me just try one thing here. I mean, I'm not sharing my screen. Sometimes that. All right, so just pretend you could see me. Maybe because I have too many screens up. I'm going to switch over to my other Wi-Fi. So just hold on, because I have a jetpack here. Hang on. All right, maybe we'll see if that works better. I don't know. I'm back. I'm not back. I have too many screens open. There's not enough bandwidth. I don't know. I might go back to the other one. So we'll see. All right. And so that is a tragic story coming to us out of Bangor, Maine. I'm very upset about it. And I don't like it. I don't know why they felt like they had to go somewhere in that horrible weather. And it's very upsetting to me. Very upsetting to me. Says here, Bombardier Challenger 600s have had a history of takeoff troubles during inclement cold weather takeoffs, with small ice accumulations being known to affect the craft, according to aviation consultant Jeff Gazzetti. Given the weather conditions at the time and the history of wind contamination with this particular aircraft, I'm sure that it's something the NTSB is going to look into immediately. He said, if there was any kind of precipitation at all, freezing precipitation, they would have needed to clean off those wings before they took off. Gazzetti added. I'm frozen again, right? All right, let's see if I can go back to here. All right, well, at least you could hear me. Let me see if I can go back to the other Wi-Fi. And then, you know what? I think it happens when we can't do any reading, I guess. So, well. I was going to read to you the whole wrongful death lawsuit of Lindsay Clancy. Lindsay Clancy is suing her doctors. And I'm learning a lot more about what went wrong in the Lindsay Clancy case and what kind of medications her doctors were giving her, because now not only Lindsay Clancy has filed a med mal wrongful death lawsuit against her doctors and the hospital, the women's hospital in Rhode Island. Her husband has also filed a wrongful death lawsuit on behalf of the same defendants, on behalf of the children, wrongful death of the children. Lindsay's also suing for her own injuries because she's saying that they overmedicated her, they misdiagnosed her, and that is what caused her to jump off the balcony or jump, out of the window. She jumped off the balcony or she jumped out of the window. I don't remember, but she is now a paraplegic. And so she is suing in one lawsuit. She's being represented by Rosemary Scapiccio, which I find interesting, but not really, because Rosemary Scapiccio is representing her in the civil suit, the wrongful death med mal case. Kevin Reddington, as we know, is representing Lindsay Clancy in the criminal. He's her criminal defense attorney. And we just found out they work together. They must work together a lot. Because they are both representing Alex Green, the one who got into the Irish pub killing, where he pulled out a gun and shot a black man point blank. And they're now, claiming that it's racial, that if it was a black man that shot a white man in the face, he wouldn't get bail. But this guy, who just so happened to be going to work for the Barnstable Sheriff's Department, it gets out on bail from Judge Cannoni. And so, interesting. Irish pub. Yeah, it was called the Old Triangle, AULD, Triangle. And that happened, I don't remember when that happened, March, I want to say. March. Thank you, Sarah B. Creative says, always there in spirit. Thanks for being with me for 18 months. And Carrie for 3 months, loves being a cupcake. And Rock Chick 71 has been here for 3 months. Thank you so much. And Venus Blue says, I'm so excited to get my necklace. Thank you again. Oh, you're welcome. My sister was able to get out. She's going back to California. So when she gets home, she will mail it to you. And so you will have it hopefully soon. But who knows with the weather and the mail. And it could take 3 weeks to get to you. So I'm not promising anything. But you are welcome. And Music My Soul says, first, you are the best. The nice thing is that Aiden's hearing and Aaron Spencer's trial both decided to wait for you to come home from Cancun. I know, isn't that so crazy? When I heard that Aiden's case was being adjourned, I'm like, well, that works out for me. That works out for me, because if I was sitting here trying to stream and this stupid thing kept freezing, and it makes me crazy. I like to give you the best viewing experience possible, and I don't like it when it's not right, but sometimes you just gotta let it go. You just gotta let it go. Thank you. You will be getting your jewelry as well. I put it up on my Instagram because the very fine gentleman, the local artisan who makes all of this Dave Matthews jewelry every year. See, every year he makes different stuff. This is, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like there's a fire dancer in there. And this pendant is like reversible. It's beautiful. And this one that I have was from last year. So every year he makes new stuff. These are the new earrings from this year. I put it up on my Instagram and I said, listen, if anybody wants anything, tell me now. Tell me now. And these rings too. These rings are pretty cool. But I couldn't really offer anybody these rings because you kind of had to turn them on. Try them on. See how there's like a fire dancer there? Cool, right? So cool. Love to help the local artists. We thought, because what always happens when Dave is here every year, I think this is our 5th year coming to Dave here. Dave and Tim Reynolds is his guitar player. Trey Anastasio usually comes out and plays with them because he's already here because they're doing Fish next weekend. But Trey did not come out. I thought they would do like a Bob Weir sort of tribute, and they didn't. But there was a really cool fiddle player that showed up last night. All the video that I took is on my Insta, and I forget his name. His name is something Simpson. Hold on, I'm going to find out for you because you guys are music fans. I know that you would know. Hold please. And I also put the set lists up, and the set lists were amazing. Jake Simpson came and he played the fiddle, and it was fire. It was fire. Very cool. Very, very cool. Does anybody know who Jake Simpson is? Because I was not familiar. More snow this weekend. Oh, well, could I at least get home first? Maybe, dig out. I don't even know how much snow we got, but it was, I think, a lot. How much snow did you guys get? The StreamYard has frozen on my phone. On my computer. So I can't pull up the chats, but I can see them. Oh, and I tried to stream for you guys. I tried really hard, and I got in. And I think night 1, we did a little thing out by the pool. I took you over to the swing bar. And then as we got closer to the venue, it just cut out. I think you got the first song night 1. Then night 2, we tried it again. And I got in. I think you heard 2 songs on night 2, right? And then while I'm streaming, this woman behind me, you could hear her at the end. She was like, are you live streaming? Do you work here? She said to me, do you work here? And I turned around like I thought she wanted me to get her a drink or something. I was like, no. She goes, well, are you live streaming? And I just ignored her. And she's like, I paid $1,500 for these tickets, And I just looked at her and said, okay. Like, first of all, the package to come here was probably at least triple that. And right when she said that, the internet cut out and it cut you guys off. But somebody wrote me a note and they're like, I wanted to hear the rest of what that woman, that Karen said to you. I know. And isn't it too bad that the Karen is the name for those kind of women nowadays? Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry. The artisan is gone. You got to follow me on Instagram if you want all the tea. All the tea. You heard her, Mitchell, right? You heard her. Jake Simpson. Thanks, Julie. 10 inches in Indiana. Yes, I do have somebody coming to plow. I got that all straightened out. ProSnap says, was the fire dancer drawing logo based on a real dancer, an amazing dancer? She was in one of Dave Matthews Band's videos. If so, which video, which song? I remember it being a black and white video. That I cannot tell you, but somebody in the chat might be able to. But the fire dancer is based on a drawing that Dave Matthews actually did himself. I just learned that like yesterday. You guys heard her totally. But I also took you guys over to the swing bar because there's a bar here that's like a tiki bar that has swings around it. And it's wild. Thank you. Thank you very much. This was made by a lovely lady, a lovely woman down by the pool, a senorita, for $40. She will draw whatever you want on the hat. And she happened to have this one already made. And I'm like, I have that hat. She was doing Patriots logos. She was doing all kinds of stuff and things. And like, you go on vacation and, sometimes you buy things that you regret later. But I think I'm always going to love this hat because I don't have a white hat. And it's so cool because you can wear it with a black, a black outfit. And, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. What else did I want to talk to you guys about? All right, because there's a couple of motions. There's motions to dismiss that were made by the House defendants in the Karen Reed versus everybody case in federal court. There's a motion by Tully to dismiss. I don't even want to like go off the screen. And who else made a motion to dismiss? Was there a third motion to dismiss? Tully, the House defendants representing, and they're all represented by the same attorney, which is wild to me. There's a conflict in my opinion. There's no, I can't put it in merch because I am limited by my Mitchell. That's a great idea, but I am limited by what Spread Shop sells, and they don't have these hats. And also, this is not a packable hat; it's a hard hat, so I'm gonna have to wear it on the plane. But if I ever get a flight home, which maybe never, but you know, it's all right. And Music to My Soul says, thanks again. I'm so excited. You're so welcome. You got a bunch of stuff, right? You were like, yeah, I want this, and this. And you were lucky because you got the last Fire Dancer stud earrings with the circle around them. So you are lucky, girl. You're lucky you caught me when you could so that I could grab it for you. It was really funny. Proctor got fired, but the true top villain is and was Tully. I've been saying that forever. Tully's hands are in everything. Tully's hands are in everything. Tully is everywhere. Tully is behind it. Yeah, I know. Is it going to happen tomorrow? Thank you, Canum. The Sarah Grace Patrick bond hearing going to happen tomorrow, or was it pushed because of the snow? I did not meet Dave's neighbor. Was he here? Because if he was here, he didn't send me an email or anything. But I did link all the merch from Spread Shop to this stream that I went to Cancun with attorney Melanie Little merch, because you can all say that you did now. You know, you can all say that you did. And then we're going to have to get the Yacht Club merch up and running. Tully's tentacles are in everything. They're in everything. I'm telling you, they're in everything. What if I go like this? If I go like this, do I freeze? Because I have Lindsay's lawsuit here, Lindsay Clancy's lawsuit. So I feel like when I'm reading stuff to you, or when I try and share the screen, that's when I freeze. So I don't know. If we ever get out of here. I mean, you know, it is what it is. What are you going to do? There's people have worse problems in the world. Oh, there's new video on Kelsey Fitzsimmons. They have new video that I was sent today. I was emailed a new video in the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case. Shut off the camera and share the doc. Well, we could try that. People say they don't care if I freeze. There's new Kelsey video. Did you see it? Let me see if we can see it. You're right. Maybe that'll work. Maybe if I shut off the camera, if I freeze, I freeze. How about that? But you know, I don't want it to be like a bad video, a bad freeze frame of me, because you know, people do me dirty. People do me dirty on the freeze frames. Many times. Oh, please. I think the best way for me to be able to share it with you. Maybe would be from my own computer. Let me try this. All right, this is surveillance video. There's no audio. But it's triggering. I'm going to tell you right now, it's triggering. I don't like it. And now it just froze. Forget it. Go look for it yourself. You can go look for it yourself. It's on Justice Served, I think, has posted it, so you can find it there. All right, go find it yourself. And it shows Kelsey going to her door, holding her baby. And then she opens the door and she got the baby over her shoulder. You can see the beautiful baby's face. So she's walking to the door. And then she opens the door and in comes, not Noonan. Noonan comes in second. First guy comes in. He's like, hey, Kel. And he's waving his piece of paper around. He's waving around. He's waving. It's on Facebook, the Kelsey Facebook page. Thank you. That's where you guys can find it. He's waving that piece of paper around, that restraining order. And we can't hear what he's saying, but she looks a little unhappy. And you really can't see what she's doing. And then in comes Noonan. And if you look at it, Noonan is wearing gloves. Yes. Noonan is wearing gloves. Ashley says, I feel like he was wearing gloves because he went looking for the gun and didn't want his prints on it. He's the only one walking in with gloves, right? That's weird because the first guy comes in without the gloves on and he's waving around the piece of paper. And then second guy, Noonan, comes in and he's got the gloves on. And then third guy comes in, no gloves. So there's 3 of them. I have no idea if her videos have audio. I don't know. But it was released. It was sent to me by email. It was sent to me from the defense team and to all media, I guess. But her father, I believe, is in security. So that house was cammed up, and I'm sure that is the only, not the only video. I'm sure it's not the only video. There must be more, don't you think? And it was summertime, yeah. It's on Facebook. That's where you guys can find it. Yeah, I know that you guys do Facebook more so than the other, and that's where you can find it. And I don't like, it upsets me. It upsets me greatly. I don't like it. It's only like 20 seconds long, right? No body cam. No. North Andover PD, they don't wear body cam. No. And that's a rich town, right? I think it was even in the budget one year. Did I get that wrong? Was it in the budget one year? And then they just decided they didn't want to. They didn't want to do it. We know that they did not have a female officer with them because we knew that already. But you can see that when they're all 3 walking in, marching in, waving that piece of paper around. Ugh. I'm sure they have more video. This is going to be a slow leak probably, because that was Kelsey's video, and I believe she had cameras everywhere. And we're going to find out. Well, we know because we looked at the Zillow listing of Kelsey Fitzsimmons' house. There was no door in the bedroom, and yet Noonan told the grand jury. He testified in front of the grand jury and said that Kelsey ducked behind the bedroom door and came out with her gun, pointed it at him. And then one of the officers who was downstairs, I think on the first floor, said that he heard Noonan say, "Kelsey, don't do it. Kelsey, don't do it." I mean, if you heard somebody say, "Kelsey, don't do it," what would you think that they were talking about? Would you think they were talking about, "Don't do it, don't shoot me, don't shoot me"? Because if the gun was pointed at him, he would shoot first and ask questions later, don't you think? If she pointed it at herself, he might say, "Kelsey, don't do it. Kelsey, don't do it." I don't know. Just using common sense is all. And there's so much more to learn about postpartum from Lindsay Clancy's lawsuit and the over-medicating and the misdiagnosis. I started reading it, and she talks about, the lawsuit talks about the difference in her pregnancies. Her first pregnancy, she was fine. She didn't have any depression. Let me see if I just move this over here. If I freeze, I'm not going to put it up. I'm going to just merely read it to myself for a moment. She talks about her first pregnancy. The people that she's suing are Jennifer TUFTS. She's a psychiatrist with her usual place of business is in Braintree in Norfolk County. Then there's another defendant who's a certified nurse practitioner named Rebecca JOLLOTTA, JOLLOTTA. And then she's suing a facility called ASTER, ASTER Mental Health in Braintree. And they employ Dr. TUFTS. And then South Shore Health System, Inc. Principal place of business is in Norfolk County. And then MCLEAN Hospital, located in Belmont, Middlesex County. And they are also suing Women and Infants Hospital of Rhode Island, located in Providence, Rhode Island. Please hit the like to push the video out, says Scott Messerschmidt. Thank you very much. And then when they get to the Women and Infants Hospital operates a specialized postpartum mental health program that serves patients from the New England region. Did you guys know that? Lindsay Clancy was born in August of 1990. She was raised in Wallingford, Connecticut. Her formative years were characterized by consistent academic excellence. I would share the screen with you, but I'm just going to freeze. So I'm just going to have it up and read it to you. Okay? Portions of it anyway. I'm going to paraphrase it for you so that we can talk about it. Her formative years were characterized by consistent academic excellence, culminating in a distinguished record throughout college and a rigorous accelerated nursing program at Massachusetts General Hospital. You guys trust me, right? Trust me, bros and girls. Lindsay's 9-year tenure as a labor and delivery nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital demonstrated notable professional competence and personal fulfillment. She was a labor and delivery nurse. This is even more, it's even more devastating to think that she worked with women, postpartum women, and that she herself became severely, I mean, I don't know if they're going to say it's postpartum psychosis, but we're going to keep reading. She was passionate about nursing and dedicated to her patients. Lindsay married Patrick Clancy in December of 2016, and they established their family home in Duxbury, Massachusetts. Lindsay and Patrick had 3 children. Cora Marie Clancy, born in December of 2017. Dawson William Clancy, born September 2019. And Callan Patrick Clancy, born May of 2022. Dexter Save Us from the Commonwealth says, women and infants saved my life. As described by Patrick Clancy, before Lindsay became ill, she was dedicated to being a mom, even over-dedicated, worked twice as hard as most. She rarely took a break to rest. Lindsay, quote, loved our children and, quote, never took her frustration out on the kids. She remained as affectionate with the kids as always. This is also very unusual for a case like this because her husband is still standing beside her. He doesn't want her to go to prison. He wants her to get the mental health that he believes that she needs. And then paragraph 16 of this complaint, this medical malpractice wrongful death complaint, says Lindsay's mother-in-law, Susan Clancy, testified in grand jury proceedings that she loved everything about Lindsay. She was a fun-loving, doting wife and mother. She loved her kids, and she was a nurturing mother who smiled all the time. Imagine, her mother-in-law is sticking up for her. That says a lot, doesn't it? Lindsay's sister, Allison, described Lindsay as the kind of person who cares deeply for the people she loves. She shows up for the celebrations and writes handwritten notes to show her love and appreciation. She's also there in times of need and finds just the right words to provide comfort and support. I mean, I could see her sister sticking up for her, but her mother-in-law too, the grandma of these children. Lindsay consistently conveyed profound affection for her children and her husband. She had never previously engaged in any form of physical harm towards her children. Next section is entitled Lindsay's prior postpartum history. During Lindsay's first pregnancy with Cora, she experienced anxiety due to an abnormal ultrasound finding that later resolved. She experienced some anxiety during the postpartum period, but returned to part-time work and breastfed for 1 year without incident. During the postpartum period following her second child, Dawson's birth, Lindsay was initially elated with increased energy. Patrick described that she had manic behavior for multiple days. In October of 2020, she had an episode of decluttering to, quote, simplify her life, end quote, obsessively cleaning and discarding items. She said she felt, quote, amazingly on top of things. Her thoughts raced and she constantly felt pressure to be active. After her second pregnancy, anxiety emerged at approximately 2 months postpartum. Although Lindsay was offered Zoloft by a psychiatrist, she declined due to concerns about breastfeeding. Her symptoms resolved through exercise, healthy diet, meditation, and several therapy sessions. We're talking about Lindsay Clancy. This is her. She has filed a medical malpractice, personal injury, and I believe wrongful death. We're going to get to it. Wrongful death lawsuit. Rosemary Scapiccio is her attorney for this civil lawsuit that was filed in Norfolk County. Let's see what the date on this is. It was docketed on the 23rd. Today's the 26th. So this was just hot off the press from last Friday. Look at me on vacation in another country, and I'm still here for you. You know why? Because I love you with all my heart. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Okay. These prior postpartum episodes, including the hypomanic symptoms following Dawson's birth, were critical indicators that should have alerted competent psychiatric providers to the risk of bipolar disorder and the potential for more severe postpartum psychiatric complications following subsequent pregnancies. So the next section is called Third Pregnancy and Initial Postpartum Period. Lindsay gave birth to Callan on May 26, 2022. I don't have anything the only thing I have to write on is like my boarding pass. Wait, am I frozen again? Oh, no, this stupid thing is just behind. Okay, hold on. Okay, so Lindsay gave birth to her third child, Callan, on May 26, 5/26/22. Both Patrick and Lindsay took parental leave following Callan's birth. Lindsay demonstrated a significant activation and hypomanic behavior, including an extensive program of exercise beginning only 1 week after delivery. She woke every day before the children at 4 a.m., ran 3 miles, did spinning for 30 minutes on the Peloton, and then 30 minutes of aerobics. On July 4th of 2022, only 5 weeks after delivery, she ran a 5-mile race. Lindsay's sister Allison observed that unlike her usual sensible self, Lindsay impulsively bought into a, quote, Beachbody multi-level marketing scheme, purchasing products to resell. She made videos of her exercise routines and posted them on Facebook and encouraged friends to join the program. Does anybody know what that is? What program that is? That MLM program? Beachbody MLM scheme? Remember who else was involved in an MLM scheme? Wasn't Chris Watts involved in like that those Thrive patches? These early postpartum behaviors constituted a hypomanic episode that, combined with her history following Dawson's birth, should have immediately suggested bipolar disorder to any competent psychiatric provider who obtained an adequate history. Okay, Kelly M says MLM Beachbody is what it was called. Okay. They don't have it like capitalized or anything. So MLM Beachbody, I'm not familiar with that. Are you guys? Watts' wife was too, but he was also involved in Thrive, wasn't he? Beachbody dropped the MLM thing, says, really, a cat man. Are they even still around? So I have a question for you guys. Anybody who knows about it or wants to Google it. Do they also sell supplements? Was she taking like some weird supplements? Because there's been a lot of research on those Thrive patches, and there's like a lot of these weird like supplement drinks that are being sold now in like mini marts and bodegas, like something called like Kratom or something, which is like really bad. And some of those supplements, they're not regulated, a lot of this stuff. And God knows what's in them. Somebody could be making it in their basement. Is all I'm saying. I don't know if they're going to bring that up in here, but let's see. I mean, if she was taking some kind of weird supplements and nobody knows what's in it, and then she's on all of this other medication, maybe she should be suing that company too. I don't know. I'm just saying. All right. Lindsay's desperate efforts to seek help. And again, this is Lindsay Clancy. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Lindsay Clancy has filed a medical malpractice lawsuit, a civil case against a couple of doctors and a hospital and the employer of one of the psychiatrists. Kratom is the worst, says Cat Randall. Right. It's bad, right? And we are reading the lawsuit. I can't share the screen because I freeze because Mexico. I don't know, but not great internet. Okay, here we go. Lindsay's desperate efforts to seek help. At approximately 12 weeks postpartum, I mean, that's wild. Wait, let me go back for a second. That is wild that after her third baby, within 1 week after she delivers her baby, she's getting up at 4 a.m., running 3 miles, spinning for 30 minutes on the Peloton, and then 30 minutes of aerobics. And then 5 weeks after her delivery, she ran a 5-mile race. I don't know if she's breastfeeding, but like, you need to like take care of yourself. Like, that's crazy. But I guess maybe hypomanic behavior is a symptom of postpartum psychosis. Let's keep reading. Lindsay's desperate efforts to seek help. At approximately 12 weeks postpartum, Lindsay's mood switched suddenly to anxiety and depression. She experienced debilitating anxiety, insomnia, sleeping only approximately 3 hours per night, and exhaustion during the day. She had no motivation and could not exercise. Everything about her body felt heavy and required effort. It was a chore to dress or shower. Her parents came from out of state to help care for the children. Anybody out there who had, I was lucky enough with 5 pregnancies to never have suffered from postpartum, but if you did, does this sound familiar to you at all? Recognizing that something was seriously wrong, Lindsay took the initiative to seek psychiatric care. On September 12th, 2022, she found Dr. Jennifer TUFTS online and scheduled an appointment. I mean, she worked in the field. I find it surprising that she would, especially she worked in labor and delivery. She found this woman on this doctor online. But let's see, baby's born May 26th. So within less than 120 days, she's seeking help. At her first appointment with Dr. Tufts, Lindsay's Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale, EPDS, score was 23, indicating severe depression. Dr. Tufts prescribed Zoloft despite Lindsay's hesitation about medication due to breastfeeding concerns. Where are my nurses in the chat? EPDS score 23, is that high? I could Google it, but I'll probably freeze. Nothing's funny about this at all. Nothing is funny about this at all. I'm sorry. Lindsay waited approximately 2 weeks before taking the medication, still concerned about its effects on breastfeeding, but ultimately began taking Zoloft in mid-October 2022 because she knew she needed help. Okay, so she was breastfeeding while she's exercising like a maniac too. That's very high, says Nighttime Stories for Kids. Very high score. After increasing the Zoloft dose from 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams as prescribed, Lindsay experienced a severe adverse reaction. She did not sleep for 48 hours. Kelly M says 19 to 30 is highest severity category. Okay. Oh, so after the Zoloft increase from 25 to 50 mgs, Lindsay experienced a severe adverse reaction. She didn't sleep for 48 hours, had racing thoughts, worsening anxiety, and felt awful. This dramatic departure from her previous sleep patterns was an obvious warning sign of medication-induced activation consistent with bipolar disorder. Lindsay promptly reported these symptoms to Dr. Tufts on October 20th of 2022. Rather than recognizing the significance of this reaction and conducting appropriate testing to determine why Lindsay had such an adverse response to a relatively low dose of medication, Dr. Tufts simply discontinued the Zoloft and prescribed Ativan and Benadryl for sleep. You tell me, are you supposed to taper off of one while you're ramping up the other, or are you supposed to stop one cold turkey and just go on something else? Thank you. Thank you much, Shardy, for loving that. Love it too. Lovely, lovely senorita down by the pool painted this for me. Oh, well, it says here, even after carefully tapering these medications, Lindsay's profound insomnia persisted, accompanied by distressing cardiac palpitations. Her condition continued to deteriorate. On November 16th, 2022, Lindsay's insomnia had become so severe that she took herself to the emergency room at South Shore Hospital seeking help. She reported insomnia, anxiety, and palpitations. The ER doctor prescribed trazodone for sleep, but it was not effective. Okay, so now she's on trazodone, Ativan, and she discontinued the Zoloft. Hello, Boulder. Eric Erickson is here from Boulder. Hello, Boulder. Eric. Dude, I was at the game yesterday. I was watching the Patriots Broncos game Broncos game here in Cancun, wearing a Buffs tank top with the Buffs logo on it and my zip up hoodie that said Free Karen Reed. So it's like I was sending such mixed signals. They're like, what team are you rooting for? Tough loss for your Broncos, but go Pats. That was a great game for Drake May, right? 23 years old. All right, moving on. Patrick's mother, a nurse at South Shore Hospital, contacted the South Shore Perinatal Behavioral Health Program on November 20th of 2022, seeking additional help for Lindsay. Nurse practitioner Julie Paul reached out to Lindsay. All right, so we already heard earlier in this complaint, Patrick's mother, her mother-in-law, is on her side, and she's also a nurse. Nurse practitioner Julie Paul reached out to Lindsay. Lindsay reported to Nurse Paul that she was very frustrated and scared, experiencing extreme insomnia, averaging only 3 hours of sleep per night, and having racing thoughts. Nurse Paul prescribed Prozac on November 21 of 2022. After merely 4 days on Prozac, Lindsay reported that the medication intensified her insomnia. She immediately informed her providers and the Prozac was discontinued. This was the second antidepressant that had caused activation and worsening insomnia, a critical red flag for bipolar disorder that the providers failed to recognize. Who are the Bruins playing right now? All right, so that is another critical red flag for bipolar disorder that the providers failed to recognize. Bruins 3, Rangers 2. Oh, thanks, little cupcake. All right, it's only second period. Oh, is that why you're teasing me? Is that why you're teasing me? I can't get the game here. I can't get the game here. Let's go Rangers. On November 25th, 2022, Nurse Paul prescribed 3 different medications, Ambien, Remeron, and Klonopin. On November 26, 2022, after taking Remeron, Lindsay experienced disassociation, perceiving the world around her as unreal, distorted, and distant. She was unable to determine what was real. She became disoriented, forgetful, confused, and disconnected from her own body. She was unable to drive and unable to be alone. These are huge red flags, okay? I have told you the story about the one time that I was given Ambien in the hospital, and I think it was, I think I was in labor. I remember my twins, I had a fine pregnancy with my twins. It was high risk because of my age, but the twins were great. My water broke at 31 weeks and they put me in the hospital to try and stop the labor. And they put me on a magnesium sulfate drip, which made me feel like I was burning from the inside out. It was horrible. And they gave me Ambien, and I swear I was hallucinating. I will never take Ambien again in my life. It's horrific, horrific. And Lieutenant Pez Dispenser Tully is here. Tully's in everything, and says Remeron is the most evil drug in the world. She wasn't psychotic, and that's what it's for. Hold, please, while I rewind to the beginning. We were on paragraph 39. Okay. Interestingly, Nurse Paul is not a defendant here. They're not suing Nurse Paul. Maybe because it's a friend of the mother-in-law's. Here's who the defendants are. Jennifer Tufts, MD. Tufts, like the college. University. Rebecca JOLLOTTA, a certified nurse practitioner. ASTER Mental Health, Inc., South Shore Health System, Inc., McLean Hospital, and Women and Infants Hospital of Rhode Island. So they are not suing Nurse Paul. Back to paragraph 39. South Shore Perinatal Behavioral Health. Wait, South Shore Perinatal. Maybe they're included in the South Shore Health System. That's probably what that is. Okay, but she's not a named defendant, which is unusual. Okay, so back to what we were just saying, November 25th, 2022, which is 6 months, almost exactly 6 months, postpartum child number 3. Nurse Paul prescribed Ambien, Remeron, and Klonopin. The next day, after she took the Remeron, Lindsay experienced disassociation, which is like feeling like you're outside of your body, perceiving the world around her as unreal, distorted, and distant. She was unable to determine what was real. She became disoriented, forgetful, confused, and disconnected from her own body. She was unable to drive and unable to be alone. Lindsay reported these alarming symptoms to her providers on November 28th, 2022, noting she was still struggling, sleeping only 3 to 4 hours, and feeling disoriented and forgetful. On November 29th, 2022, Lindsay began treating with Nurse JOLLOTTA. Lindsay reported that she was anxious and frightened about what is happening, and that's in quotes, so I'm sure it's in the medical records or in the notes, and that she blamed herself. Nurse JOLLOTTA correctly considered a bipolar presentation and prescribed Seroquel, an antipsychotic and mood stabilizer. Somebody said they treated her like a guinea pig. Really? Really? The Catman says CNS depression causing insomnia is a clear sign that they're not working. The body panics. Tracy Giuliano says it's so hard to get psych meds right because everyone reacts differently, but they should have kept her in McLean Hospital. After starting Seroquel, Lindsay's condition took a dramatic turn for the worse. She developed suicidal ideation and began experiencing what she described as intrusive thoughts, which were actually auditory hallucinations. The voice said, quote, "I will not be the same. I want to die." You know what this reminds me of? Carly Gregg. Remember Carly Gregg? It was reported that she had auditory hallucinations too. It's heartbreaking. Lindsay openly communicated her escalating internal turmoil to her husband, her parents, and her providers. She described her emotional state as emotionless and like a zombie, and these are all in quotes, attributing this profound affective blunting to the Seroquel. And this is also, because it's in quotes, it makes me think that it's in the medical records. It's all right there. On December 2nd, 2022, Lindsay reported to Nurse JOLLOTTA that she had lost 15 pounds, had no appetite, was experiencing panic attacks and confusion, and had a lack of attention over the past 4 days. December 2nd, she had lost 15 pounds by December 2nd. And I don't know if this means between November 29th and December 2nd, because they first put her on the Remeron, let's see, November 25th. In 8 days, she lost 15 pounds. On December 4th of 2022, Lindsay was so frightened by the hallucinations that she called the New Bedford suicide hotline seeking help. She was told there was no emergency because she said she had no specific plan as to how she would take her own life. Shake a Leg Sherilyn says, and she's been here for over a year, she's got a red velvet cupcake, Seroquel and Remeron, that's malpractice from jump. That's what this lawsuit is about. And now we're learning so much more about Lindsay Clancy's defense from the civil lawsuit that she just filed on Friday. On December 5th, 2022, Lindsay met virtually with an Aspire crisis support clinician, again seeking help. She was told that she did not meet the criteria for inpatient treatment because she did not have a plan to take her own life. Misbehaving in Florida says the most common side effect on Seroquel is weight gain. Massa Shenanigans says she repeatedly cried for help. Yes. On December 6th of 2022, Patrick attended an appointment with Lindsay and Nurse JOLLOTTA. Patrick connected Lindsay's suicidal thoughts to the Seroquel. He told Nurse JOLLOTTA that Lindsay is 10,000 times worse since she has taken medication, and asked if they could get Lindsay off medications and start from scratch to see what's going on. He asked if there could have been some mistake, like using the wrong medications. Nurse JOLLOTTA acknowledged it is possible. Despite this, Nurse JOLLOTTA continued to increase the Seroquel dosage towards 400 milligrams per day. Yes, the husband also filed a lawsuit. Right now, I am reading to you Lindsay's lawsuit, because Lindsay's lawsuit also includes causes of action for her injuries. She's now paraplegic, and she's saying these medications are what caused her to want to take her own life and jump off the balcony or jump out of the window. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was off the balcony, right? I have that lawsuit too, and we'll go over that probably on a different stream because who knows how long this internet's going to hold out for me. Let's go Rangers. So that's also got to be in the notes. Lindsay's husband saying, could there be some mistake, like you're using the wrong medications? And Nurse JOLLOTTA said it's possible. On December 13th, 2022, Lindsay remained deeply depressed, had no motivation, and still had suicidal ideation. She wanted, quote, this to be all over. On December 15th, 2022, Patrick called Nurse JOLLOTTA's office to report that, quote, Lindsay has had a devastating week and that it was the worst day for Lindsay. She had horrible, all in caps, horrible thoughts all day. Lindsay had auditory hallucinations all day, every day. She felt debilitated, not interested in anything, exhausted, and could not get out of bed. The hallucinations were loud and continued all day, saying, quote, I will never be the same. I will never be me again. And you are damaged. You will never be the same. The only option is to die. I mean, I've always had empathy for Lindsay Clancy because of what I know about postpartum. And so many people were coming in here and just like said the most horrific things about this mother. But don't you have to be absolutely insane or on drugs to want to take the lives of your 3 little babies? Oh, please, 1 sec. Awesome. Lindsay told her husband, Patrick, quote, I have thoughts of harming the kids. She also told her mother about these thoughts. Because she was in a psychotic state, Lindsay also had paranoid delusions that people could hear her thoughts and that she would be locked in a hospital and have her children taken away. Lindsay's escalating suicidal thoughts prompted a visit to the Massachusetts General Hospital emergency room on December 20th, 2022, where she sought help. Please just be mindful of the words that you put in the chat, okay? Like, don't put the S word in there. YouTube hates it. And they always, every time I talk about Ellen Greenberg, my stream gets demonetized, and I don't care about that. It's the shadow banning that I care about because everyone needs to know about this case. Everyone needs to know about Lindsay Clancy. And yes, Nighttime Stories for Kids says this is why women don't ask for help because they can't get it even when they're screaming for help. That's right. You're right. So December 20th, 2022, she goes to the Massachusetts General Hospital emergency room. The ER suggested either admission to McLean Hospital or the partial hospitalization day program at Women and Infants Hospital in Rhode Island. Section E, Women and Infants Hospital's failure to properly treat Lindsay. On December 21, 2022, Lindsay admitted herself to the partial hospitalization day program at Women and Infants Hospital in Providence, Rhode Island, a program intended for patients with postpartum depression. This was yet another active step Lindsay took to seek help for her worsening condition. Big Old Dog says, I can't believe they left her with a nurse practitioner. Same thing happened in Carly Gregg. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Carly Gregg also being prescribed medications from a nurse practitioner over Zoom? Oh, the Mother Oats. No, I didn't see that. About Runkle. Lindsay's chief complaint at Women and Infants was, quote, I feel numb and crazy depressed. She reported feeling crazy depressed, numb to all emotion, can't feel love, that her life is becoming a disaster, that she couldn't, quote, feel fear, and that she was, quote, messed up beyond repair. She had lost 15 pounds in a month, had no motivation, and reported that it takes all the effort in the world just to breathe. Lindsay's Edinburgh postnatal depression scale, EPDS score at Women and infants was 23, indicating severe depression. Her generalized anxiety disorder 7-item GAD 7 score was 21, higher than the threshold for the most severe category. Yeah, I agree with you. Becca says just because you feel crazy or depressed doesn't make it okay to off your kids. I don't think anybody is suggesting that it's okay to off your kids because of for any reason. I don't think anybody is suggesting here that it's okay. I think what we are suggesting here is that maybe this is another reason why women don't ask for help. Please don't misunderstand that I think that this is okay. But here we have empathy for people and we try and understand why things happen because no normal person in their right mind would ever take the lives of their 3 baby children and still have their mother-in-law and husband backing them up. Right. And if you do ask for help, then they take your children away, potentially, right? Despite these severely elevated scores, Dr. Diaz at Women and Infants concluded that Lindsay had no postpartum depression and rejected a bipolar disorder diagnosis because of no history of hypomania or psychosis or family history. But wait a second. Oh, and then it goes on to say this conclusion was negligent because Dr. Diaz failed to obtain an adequate history. Had Dr. Diaz properly inquired about Lindsay's early postpartum period, she would have learned of the hypomanic episode that began immediately after delivery. Little Cupcake says, only someone dedicated to misunderstanding you would ever suggest such a silly thing. Speaking of red flags. Yeah, exactly. Forever Exennial is saying, just commonsensically, Becca, 2 things can be true at the same time. You can have severe mental health problems that are treated improperly, and you shouldn't take the lives of your children. Yes, and you could have been prescribed all kinds of medication that could cause you to hallucinate. And what are you going to say next? That her husband never should have left her alone with those kids? Is that the next thing that's going to come out? Despite these severely elevated scores, okay, I just read that paragraph. Dr. Diaz accepted Lindsay and Patrick's belief that her symptoms were due to overmedication and recommended weaning Seroquel. The clinical team at Women and Infants posited that Lindsay's symptoms were more pharmacologically induced than purely depressive. Women and Infants Hospital determined that its day program was not appropriate for Lindsay and reached out to Nurse JOLLOTTA to discuss Lindsay's care. Nurse JOLLOTTA did not respond to them. Stop it. Nurse Kim her head would pop off, and it would be in Canada right now. Women and Infants' negligent failure to properly evaluate Lindsay, obtain an adequate psychiatric history, and recognize the signs of bipolar disorder with postpartum onset resulted in a missed opportunity to provide appropriate treatment. Their recommendation to wean Seroquel without providing a proper alternative treatment plan, paradoxically contributed to Lindsay's further deterioration. Next section is McLean Hospital's failure to properly treat Lindsay. Hold, please. Following the Seroquel reduction recommended by Women and Infants, Lindsay's suicidal ideation resurged. By December 29th of 2022, Lindsay told her husband, quote, I can't tough it out anymore. I need to go to McLean. On December 30th of 2022, Lindsay went to the MGH emergency room, which suggested admission to McLean Hospital. On December 31st, 2022, Lindsay admitted herself to McLean Hospital, the nation's top-ranked psychiatric hospital, due to her severe depression and suicidal ideation. Lindsay's admitting symptoms included passive suicidal ideation, feeling detached, hopelessness, depression, no appetite or energy to perform activities of daily living, no motivation, anhedonia, racing thoughts, inability to organize her thoughts, memory problems, anxiety, and insomnia. I think that list that I just read off to you is like the list that is in every single pharmaceutical commercial. If you watch certain channels on TV or on streaming, every single commercial is a pharmaceutical commercial. And it's like, if please let your doctor know if you have any suicidal ideation, feeling detached, hopelessness, depression. No, it's like every single side effect is listed here. Her insight and judgment were documented as limited. McLean placed Lindsay on a locked unit with 15-minute taking of your own life checks. If I say that word too many times, that they're just going to yellow $ me. However, the care she received was grossly inadequate. She was admitted on New Year's Eve, and there was a skeleton crew because of the holiday. Patients spent their evening doing puzzles and coloring. Nurses stayed behind a desk and glass. Lindsay did not see a doctor until January 3rd, 2023, 3 days after admission. I'm sorry, what? She's admitting herself because of her hallucinations and her ideation, and she doesn't see a doctor for 3 days. On January 3rd, 2023, the doctor advised Lindsay to stop Seroquel and benzodiazepines and prescribed trazodone for sleep. On January 4th, 2023, Lindsay asked if she could go home for Cora's birthday. Because her thoughts had improved since the Seroquel decrease, she was approved for discharge. She goes in December 31st. She doesn't see a doctor for 3 days. That's the 3rd. And on the 4th, she says, "Can I go home for my daughter's birthday?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're good. I'm good. Go on. Get out of here." Not just to go home for the birthday, but for discharge. Lindsay was discharged from McLean Hospital on January 5th, 2023, after only a 5-day stay, despite her documented, quote, limited insight and judgment, and was returned to the care of the same outpatient providers who had been providing allegedly substandard care. Huge failure, huge. After discharge, Dr. Goodhart from McLean called Lindsay and spoke for only 10 minutes, offering names of antidepressants. The staff at McLean suggested amitriptyline, yet another antidepressant, the very class of medications that had repeatedly caused Lindsay to have adverse reactions. When Lindsay was just discharged from McLean, she thought, quote, "I was just in the best hospital in the country, so there was not much hope." She decided she must appear like she was okay and had to do her best. McLean Hospital's negligent failure to properly evaluate Lindsay, obtain an adequate psychiatric history, provide sufficient inpatient care during her brief admission, and ensure appropriate discharge planning and follow-up care directly contributed to the tragic events that followed. Section G, continued deterioration under Dr. Tufts' care. Lindsay returned to treatment with Dr. Tufts on January 6th of 2023, the day after her discharge from McLean. Dr. Tufts diagnosed Lindsay with chronic major depressive disorder, single episode moderate. She recorded that Lindsay's psychiatric condition was deteriorating and that her medication was not effective. Despite her poor condition, Dr. Tufts met with Lindsay for only 17 minutes. At Cora's birthday party on January 7th, 2023, Lindsay was not herself. She smiled, but she could not converse. She avoided talking and could not make sense of what others were saying. Lindsay's hallucinations resumed within 1 week of her discharge from McLean. On January 10th, 2023, Lindsay returned to Dr. Tufts and was switched to Valium for a benzodiazepine taper. Dr. Tufts indicated that, quote, "At some point we will add an antidepressant." I see you, Dot. I see you. This is a train wreck. Wow. These drugs literally affect brain chemistry. This is mental health care, and we need changes. I see you. This is a train wreck, and I don't even know what happened. Well, you're not going to want to know. If you don't know, you're not going to want to know. So this nice hat and all, but don't bite my shtick. Dude, I'm wearing this hat because I got beach hair. Don't care. That's why. If I showed you my hair underneath this hat, it's wonky. Thanks, Unsybil, for tuning in, and thanks for your 5. And Lieutenant Pez Dispenser Tully says, I had a friend who took her life after going to 2 ERs who said the same thing. No plan. She was so desperate. She went home and did a thing. Thank you. This 20 is in case you need to be smuggled back. Thank you so much. Just be careful what you're writing in the chat. Like your 20. I'll appreciate your 20 though. Kelly, this is Lindsay Clancy. Was that McLean? Yes. Lindsay Clancy, Steve. Not a house defendant says, Miss Yellow Cottage Cheese, mind your business. We had to go to Cancun with Melanie Little. I know. Too bad we couldn't bring the yacht. Thank you for your 5. And Music to My Soul says I splurged because I might not get the chance again. You never know. You never know. Back to the papers. On January 16th, Lindsay was still experiencing debilitating depression. This is 2023. She had to force herself to do anything. The hallucinations continued. This is triggering. Here's your trigger warning. No, I didn't bring my yacht bracelet, but I have all these bracelets. Look at all these bracelets. Hold on. I'll show you my cool bracelets. Because, you know, we got all the cool bracelets. Can you read them? I think they're upside down. So much to say. There's a gray street bracelet in here in yellow. This one says crash. Then this one says so damn lucky. And, you know, all the things. This is triggering. So I'm triggering. I'm warning you right now. This is what the hallucinations were saying to Lindsay. You should harm the children. You should K yourself. You will never be the same. The only option is to die. She felt like a zombie. Dr. TUFTS prescribed amitriptyline, another antidepressant, at 10 milligrams per day. On January 20th, 2023, because Lindsay was having such awful thoughts and was so numb and emotionless, she researched what is a psychopath to see if she was one and whether there was a cure. On January 23rd of 2023, during another 17-minute appointment, Lindsay reported being, quote, a little more anxious with heart racing and more AM anxiety. Dr. TUFTS recorded that Lindsay's mood is the same, flat/anxious, that she had no motivation, numb, and that has to force herself up out of the house. Her sleep and medication efficacy were poor. Her insight was poor, and her psychiatric condition generally was unchanged. Dr. TUFTS increased the amitriptyline to 20 milligrams a day. That night, Lindsay did not sleep. We're going to get through it. Take a deep breath. That was January 23rd of 2023. And then the next section is entitled January 24th of 2023. On January 24th, 2023, Lindsay woke severely depressed with S-type thoughts. She gave the children breakfast. She took Cora to the pediatrician because Cora complained of a stomach ache. Later, she went to the backyard with the children, built a snowman, and sent a picture to Patrick and her mother. How old is she? She was born, what did I say? She was born in 1990. She tried so hard. So she's 33. The S-type hallucinations continued all day, nonstop. Later in the afternoon, the voice began saying, you should harm the children. Lindsay thought about dinner and realized she had not prepared anything. She asked Patrick about takeout. She looked at a map to see how long it would take because she did not want to be alone and needed help. As soon as Patrick left to pick up the phone, there was a loud, demanding, repetitious voice. This is your last chance. K the children so you can K yourself. This is your last chance. You have to K the kids so you can K yourself. That's all in caps. Dark forces, says Clayton John. This is Norfolk County, actually. This is in Norfolk County. Lindsay felt a force come over her. Lindsay experienced command auditory hallucinations. A demanding, powerful male voice explicitly ordered her. She felt an overwhelming, irresistible compulsion to comply, entering a disassociative dreamlike state where her physical actions felt utterly disconnected from conscious volition. She perceived her body was just acting and she was merely watching herself do it. She reported she had no choice but to follow these compelling directives. Lindsay described, quote, "I lost all control. My body started acting without any control on my part. I was just following commands. All action, this voice demanded action." This is like something out of a horror movie. Lindsay proceeded. All right, trigger warning again. Can mods, can you put it? I think I have one actually in my banners. If you need a break, please take a break. This is Lindsay Clancy's medical malpractice personal injury lawsuit, and I'm telling you why it was filed on Friday. Because the statute of limitations for personal injury is 3 years from the date of the incident. In New York, medical malpractice is 2.5 years. And so this had to be filed by January 24th of 2026. It's filed on the 23rd, 1 day within the statute. What's the med mal statute of limitations? Is it 2.5 years from the last date of treatment? So it's probably within the statute. Wrongful death in Massachusetts is also 3 years from the date of death. And so that is why Patrick, her husband's lawsuit, was filed also within the past week. It didn't feel real to her. Okay, already? I gave you all a warning. Lindsay proceeded to strangle each of her children, uttering, "Go to God, baby." Following these acts, she undertook a severe S attempt, ingested a substantial quantity of various medications, self-inflicting lacerations to her wrists and neck, and jumping from a second-floor window approximately 20 feet to the ground below. This reminds me also of the Amish mother in, what is her name? Ruth, who said she sent her baby to be with God in the water. Remind me, chat. This is horrific. Lindsay suffered catastrophic injuries, including a thoracic spinal cord injury, resulting in permanent paralysis below the sternum. Yeah, I'm not giving legal advice here. I'm talking about some states. Some states have shorter statute of limitations. You're absolutely correct. Always consult with an attorney in your state if you need to know your statute of limitations. Thank you for putting that out there, JT Law Account. Ruth Miller, thank you. Lindsay suffered catastrophic injuries, including a thoracic spinal cord injury, resulting in permanent paralysis below the sternum. She also suffered multiple closed fractures of her cervical and thoracic vertebrae and multiple rib fractures. She did not want to live. She did not think that she would live. She has said that. We have covered recent hearings in which it's Kevin Reddington that's her attorney, right? In which Kevin Reddington is trying to get them to be able to bring her to court, and she needs special care and treatment and transportation. And he has said to the court, she does not want to live. She does not want to live. We need to take precautions because you don't want it, judge, on your head if she takes her life in this courthouse. And that is also in Norfolk Superior. Cora and Dawson died on January 24th of 2023. Callan succumbed to his injuries and died on January 27th of 2023. May they rest in peace, those poor babies. Let's take a moment for Cora and Dawson and Callan, please. Lindsay consistently maintains her actions were compelled by a hallucinatory voice, not a conscious decision, and expresses profound, enduring love for her children. Next section is called Expert Psychiatric Opinions. Dr. Margaret Spinelli, clinical professor of psychiatry at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons and founder of the Women's Program in Psychiatry at Columbia University Medical College, conducted a comprehensive forensic psychiatric evaluation of Lindsay. Dr. Spinelli met with Lindsay for 5 hours at Tewksbury Psychiatric Hospital on June 11, 2024, and subsequently spoke with her by telephone for 3 hours on September 6th of 2024. Dr. Spinelli also interviewed Patrick Clancy, Lindsay's sister Allison, Lindsay's mother, and Lindsay's mother-in-law. Dr. Spinelli diagnosed Lindsay with bipolar I disorder, severe, with psychosis and anxious distress with postpartum onset. Dr. Spinelli concluded that Lindsay had a baseline bipolar disorder with minimal symptoms after her second childbirth, and that her symptoms worsened after her third birth when she was prescribed an antidepressant. Dr. Spinelli noted that an antidepressant medication can create manic or hypomanic symptoms and mood instability in one who has bipolar illness. This is a well-known response for a person with underlying bipolar disorder. Dr. Spinelli opined that the providers never seemed to communicate with one another, that no one ever asked her to describe the content of her intrusive thoughts, which were in fact hallucinations, and that Lindsay was repeatedly given antidepressants instead of a mood stabilizer. Dr. Spinelli specifically commented on the failures of multiple providers. Regarding the initial Zoloft reaction, she noted that if practitioners had recognized the hypomanic activation after Zoloft, a second or third antidepressant would not have been tried. Yeah, people say, that it reminds them of Andrea Yates. Regarding women and infants, she noted that Dr. Diaz did not review mood symptoms of her last pregnancy, this postpartum period, and did not review hypomanic episode immediately after delivery, which was the beginning of Mrs. Clancy's postpartum psychosis. Dr. Spinelli concluded she did all that she could to obtain the appropriate treatment. Dr. Paul Zeisel, a forensic psychologist, also conducted extensive clinical interviews with Lindsay and her parents. Dr. Zeisel was the initial forensic expert to engage Lindsay in the immediate aftermath of the incident. Dr. Zeisel concurred with the assessments of Dr. Spinelli and Dr. Philip Resnick. Dr. Zeisel opined to a reasonable degree of psychological certainty that Ms. Clancy's clinical course was significantly complicated by polypharmacy and the involvement of multiple prescribers, which in effect obscured an accurate diagnosis and appropriate intervention and treatment. Furthermore, the psychotropic medications she received appeared to have paradoxically exacerbated her underlying psychiatric vulnerability, precipitating a state of manic psychosis characterized by compelling command hallucinations. I would explain that to you, but I have a feeling that practically everyone in the chat understands exactly what that means, because you are one of the smartest chats on the internet. If you would like me to explain it better, I think it's medical malpractice. They should have noticed what her symptoms were. They should have treated her differently. They treated her with complete and total disregard for the medicine. And outside of the, realm of what is appropriate in the psychological and psychomedical community. Dr. Zeisel noted that Lindsay's parents conveyed profound shock and devastation at the depth of her psychological decompensation, indicating a prior lack of complete comprehension regarding the actual severity of her underlying illness. This underscores how the medical providers fail to adequately communicate the severity of Lindsay's condition or take appropriate action. Remember back in the day when prescriptions were on paper, and so you could go, or patients could go to like 3, 5, 10 different doctors in different towns and get all kinds of opiates. And that was when the opiate crisis, became known. And then all prescriptions went into the electronic system so that you couldn't doctor shop anymore and you couldn't drug seek anymore, allegedly. That was supposed to prevent all of this from happening. But apparently it didn't. Or it doesn't. Defendants' violations of the standards of care. I'm checking in with you guys, you all right? Thanks, Kat Randall, for gifting a membership. You're awesome. The standard of care required defendants to obtain a complete psychiatric history, including detailed inquiries. These are the things that they're alleging that went wrong, that rise to the level of medical malpractice. They didn't obtain a complete psychiatric history, including detailed inquiry into Lindsay's mood and symptoms during and after her prior pregnancies to see how this was different, right? Had any of the providers done so, they would have learned of the hypomanic episodes that followed her second and third deliveries, which were critical indicators of bipolar disorder postpartum onset. The standard of care required defendants to recognize that Lindsay's severe adverse reaction to Zoloft, characterized by activation, worsening insomnia, racing thoughts, was a red flag for bipolar disorder. The standard of care further required that after an antidepressant, Prozac, caused similar activation, defendants should have diagnosed bipolar disorder and prescribed a mood stabilizer rather than try to continue an antidepressant. The standard of care required defendants to conduct appropriate testing, including blood plasma levels of medication, to determine why Lindsay was having adverse reactions to relatively low doses of medication and whether she was a slow metabolizer. The standard of care required defendants to follow the start low and go slow principle when prescribing medications, particularly given Lindsay's demonstrated sensitivity to psychotropic medications. Instead, defendants added and accelerated medications in an ad hoc manner that radically increased the risks to Lindsay. Follow the money. I say that all the time. Follow the money. Follow the money. Right. And she went to an expert center and she checked herself in. She did all of the things. All of the things. The standard of care required defendants to inquire into the content of Lindsay's intrusive thoughts, which were actually auditory hallucinations. Had they done so, they would have recognized the psychotic nature of her symptoms and the danger she posed to herself and her children, including the danger of postpartum psychosis. The standard of care required defendants to coordinate care among themselves and with other treating providers. Instead, the providers failed to communicate with one another. And Nurse JOLLOTTA did not even return women and infants' call to discuss Lindsay's care. So many balls were dropped. Steve, I appreciate your comment. I'm just going to delete it because you got to just be careful about what you write in the chat because YouTube has this. Oh, sorry, I deleted the wrong one. YouTube has AI programs and they took down one of Runkle's streams the other day because of something that you guys were just telling me. And again, just please don't write like the lithium stuff in there. I'm just going to delete it. Okay. Thank you. The standard of care required defendants to coordinate care among themselves and with other treating providers. Instead, the providers failed to communicate with one another, and Nurse JOLLOTTA didn't even return the call. Okay. Standard of care required defendants to seek collateral information from her family members who could have provided crucial information about the severity of her condition and her functioning at home. The standard of care required defendants to recognize that Lindsay, as a patient suffering from severe postpartum mental health disorders with S-type ideation, posed a risk of harming not only herself, but also her children. The standard of care required McLean Hospital to provide adequate inpatient care during Lindsay's brief admission, rather than discharging her after 5 days with limited insight and judgment back to the same providers who had been providing inadequate care. The standard of care required women and infants to properly evaluate Lindsay, obtain an adequate psychiatric history, including inquiry into her early postpartum period, and recognize the signs of bipolar disorder, rather than dismissing her depression scores and recommending medication changes without proper follow-up. Defendants knew or should have known that Lindsay presented a real, clear, and present danger of harm to herself and her young children. Defendants' collective failures to comply with the standard of care, more likely than not, directly and proximately caused the injuries suffered to Lindsay, including Lindsay's taking the lives of her children and attempting to take her own. Count 1. Negligence, medical malpractice, personal injury. Lindsay Clancy versus all defendants. All defendants owed Lindsay a duty. Okay, so remember we talk about negligence, we talk about the four-legged stool, duty, breach, causation, damages. All defendants owed Lindsay a duty to exercise reasonable skill and attention in their care and treatment of her psychiatric condition. Defendants failed to exercise reasonable skill and attention in caring for Lindsay, and their conduct deviated from accepted standards of medical practices. Accepted standards of medical practice as set forth above. They had a duty, they breached the duty. As a direct and proximate result of the negligence of the defendants, this is your causation part, Lindsay suffered severe personal injuries, including but not limited to the loss of her 3 children, Cora, Dawson, and Callan, the development of severe postpartum psychosis with command auditory hallucinations, a thoracic spinal cord injury resulting in permanent paralysis below the sternum, multiple closed fractures of the cervical and thoracic vertebrae, multiple rib fractures, neurogenic bowel and bladder dysfunction, impaired mobility requiring the use of a wheelchair, and severe psychological trauma. That's duty, breach. The breach caused the damages. That's the 4th leg of the stool, are the damages, and those are the damages, the loss of her children and the injuries that we just read. Further, the acts and omissions of defendants constituted gross negligence and a reckless indifference to the health, safety, and welfare of Lindsay, and showed reckless disregard for the consequences which defendant knew or should have known could result from their acts or omissions. As a result of the foregoing, Lindsay is entitled to recover damages from the defendants, including past and future medical expenses, past and future lost wages, pain and suffering, emotional distress, including the knowledge that she took the lives of her children, loss of enjoyment of life, permanent disability, and other damages in an amount to be determined at trial. So when you talk about damages in a civil lawsuit such as this, there are tangible damages and there are intangible damages. Tangible damages are damages that you can put a number on. You can add up all the medical bills and show them to the jury. You can have an expert come in and talk about future medical care and how much it's going to cost to take care of her for the rest of her life based on her life expectancy. And then there are non-tangible damages that the jury gets to decide in a case like this, such as how much is her pain and suffering worth? How much is it worth for her to have to live with the fact that she took the lives of her own children? I don't know if this will be a successful lawsuit, but my nurses in the chat and my medical professionals in the chat are saying that this is the worst case of malpractice that they have ever seen. Count 2, loss of parental consortium. At all times, Lindsay was the mother of Cora, Dawson, and Callan. As a direct and proximate result of the negligence, recklessness, and gross negligence of the defendants, Lindsay has suffered and will continue to suffer the complete and permanent loss of the companionship, consortium, severe services, society, comfort, guidance, counsel, and advice of her children. Children are no longer. Oksana is here. There she is. She's here. We met. We hung out. We had a great time. Hang on, Oksana. I shouted you out earlier and I said you were trying to get out. I don't know if I can highlight this because the StreamYard on my computer, because you know how great the Wi-Fi is, Oksana. Oksana says, I love meeting you. You are the queen. I'm still stuck at a hotel by the airport, but it was worth Dave and Tim and meeting you. Oh my God. So your flight didn't get out? So many people went to the airport and had to turn around after their flights got canceled and waited there all day. I'm just like, yeah, I'll just wait. I'm just going to wait until I get a flight. Just like maybe it melts a little bit. We had so much fun. You're amazing. Cupcakes are everywhere. Cupcakes are everywhere. Look at the hat. Oh, she knows the hat because I sent her a picture of my hat and it said the night that we met up, which I think was only last night, right, Oksana? I said, I'll be wearing this hat. Come find me by the palm trees with the pretty lights. I can't find your comment. I can only see it on my phone. Back to the papers, which are somewhere underneath here. Let's see. So we've got the loss of services of her children, the personal injuries to her, being paraplegic and having to live with the fact that she took their lives, the loss of spousal consortium, which is count 3. At all times, she was married to Patrick Clancy, and as a direct result of this negligence, recklessness, and gross negligence, Lindsay has suffered and will continue to suffer the loss of the normal marital relationship with her husband, including loss of companionship, consortium, society, comfort, guidance, counsel, advice, and conjugal fellowship as a result of the devastating impact of the events of January 24th, 2023 on her marriage. Count 5, vicarious liability as against ASTER Mental Health and South Shore Health Systems. Vicarious liability is when you hold an employer responsible for the acts of their employees, and that is the next cause of action. Dr. TUFTS was an employee of ASTER Mental Health, and she was acting within the scope of her employment. Nurse JOLLOTTA was an employee of South Shore Health Systems, acting within the scope of her employment. And under the doctrine of respondeat superior, there's your Latin of the day, respondeat superior. ASTER Mental Health is vicariously liable for the negligence and omission of Dr. TUFTS, and same with South Shore Health System being vicariously liable for the acts and omissions of Nurse JOLLOTTA, and oftentimes in medical malpractice cases, the hospital is on the hook for the doctor or the employer. The group that the doctor or nurse is employed by is responsible. It's very common. The buck stops here. Respondeat superior is Latin, and it translates to let the master answer. It is a legal doctrine that holds employers vicariously liable for the negligent acts or omissions of their employees. And that is the final cause of action. And then XOXO. These are all the damages we're asking for, plus costs and attorney's fees, in an amount that the jury deems just and proper. And XOXO, Lindsay Clancy by her attorney, Rosemary Curran Scapiccio. Just one of our many spirit animals out there doing the Lord's work. I did not know that Rosemary Scapiccio was also a civil litigator. She's a fireball criminal defense attorney, but I did not know that she's a civil litigator too. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I do. Med mal, personal injury, civil litigation. I did not know that she does both. Did you? Really, Catman says there's nuance to these things that is hard to appreciate if you've not been there or delved into the stories themselves. Yes, 100%. That's what we're doing here, is we're trying to pick up on the nuance of it, right? Both things can be true. Lindsay Clancy should have been treated differently by her medical providers, and when she was screaming for help, they should have listened. Maybe it could have been prevented. Maybe it could have been prevented. And she should have absolutely never have done that to her children. Both things can be true. I very much appreciate, says really a cat man, the nuance everyone here brings to the conversation. That's what we try to do. I will share this for you, Mass Lady 123. Can for anyone that feels compelled, flags were made with Cora's rainbow heart drawing. Search with love from Duxbury. Flags of love via Herd Foundation that helped build the playground. Lindsay is currently in custody. She has been in custody since her arrest. I don't think she thought she was going to live. I don't. She did not want to live. She's been in. Has she been in Tewksbury Hospital since? I'm conflating my cases now because I know that we're covering a couple of cases where the defendants are in mental health facilities because Kelsey Fitzsimmons was in Chicopee, which is not a mental health facility. And Lindsay, and somebody else was in Bridgewater State. And I think she's been in Tewksbury ever since, right? And it's not a matter of, her getting away with this and being found not guilty. It's Tewksbury, thank you, since she got out of the hospital. Since she got out of the medical, okay, yeah. It's not a matter of she should get away with trying to, with what she did and, be sent home. Does she belong in a mental hospital where she can get the help that she needs, or does she belong in a prison where she will get none of the help that she needs? I don't think that anyone here is suggesting, with regard to the criminal case, that is, that she should just be let out, right? This is an interesting take. What use is custody? Protect the public, paraplegic, danger paraplegic, flee paraplegic, can't care for herself, just costing taxpayers and bad care. So what do you think we should do? Should we just let her take her own life? Is that what you think we should do? Steve says, did the court figure out Lindsay's court accommodations so she can be there? I don't know if that's been determined yet. I'm going to have to check the mass courts. It hasn't landed in my inbox yet, so I do not know if that has yet been decided. I think they put it over till another date, right? I think there's another conference coming up and they were going to talk about it then. Ah, yes. Thank you, Lori, for reminding me of this, because this is something else I wanted to discuss with you. Our friend, Kim Ledbettero, went to the memorial service for Anna Walsh the other day. Hang on, let me pull up her messages. Kim, are you here? I don't know if Kim is here. She goes by Yellow Ledbettero. She went to Anna Walsh's memorial service the other day, and she said that it was in a Greek Orthodox church, and the memorial was on January 24th, which was just this past Saturday, at the Greek Orthodox Church in Cohasset. Michael Marcy was there. She says he's half the size that he used to be. The Commonwealth lawyers were there at Anna Walsh's memorial service. She said there was a total of 35 to 40 people there, total. Not a single local friend or neighbor at all. Kim thought it was really odd. And then she says, when I asked, was the mother's location looked into on New Year's Eve and day? He said, wait a second, was this when you were talking to Michael Marcy? Hold on a second. No, she asked Detective Schmidt from Cohasset PD. Remember Detective Schmidt from Cohasset PD? Kim said, I did myself a journalism and I asked him if the mother was ever investigated, if her location was ever known on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. He told me that I needed to go through the chief of police at Cohasset to ask any questions. And then she said she's going to try and do that. And so she's going to see if she will be able to do an interview to find out if they ever investigated Brian Walsh's mom, because remember, we all had our thoughts about whether or not she was actually there that night. And that Jem did show up, but he didn't have his angels with him. And then she said, when I asked was the mother's location looked into on New Year's Eve and day, Detective Schmidt said, of course it was. Then I asked, was she there or was she in Swampscott? And then Kim says he shut it down and said I needed to go through the chief, whose name is Quigley. And then he asked, who am I a reporter for? And I said, I'm independent. Ha 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 ha. She's waiting for Chief Quigley to get back to her. So there's Kim, Yellow Ledbetter out there doing the Lord's work still on all of these cases that all of you guys are so passionate about, including the Brian Walsh case. And so many of you thought maybe perhaps Brian Walsh's mother, Diana Walsh, was involved in the planning or the aftermath or something. Because you guys are, I don't know, wicked smart. Great questions, right? Jem's angels. Yeah, Jem's angels weren't there. Something else. I mean, I wanted to end on a funny note tonight because this is tragic, this stuff that we cover. I also want to see if I can maybe bribe someone at the front desk to give me a Wi-Fi password for like the better internet, or maybe like an Ethernet cable or a conference room where tomorrow, if the Sarah Grace Patrick bond hearing is happening, there's going to be a live feed. I got to look into that more. And so I don't know if any of you have been following this, but the Louisville Metro Police Department, are you following this? I know that many of you do not play over there. There's Kim, Yellow Ledbetter. Good job, girl. Good job. I thought perhaps Larry Foreman, our friend Larry Foreman, attorney Larry Foreman from Louisville, Kentucky, perhaps he hacked into the Twitter feed of the Louisville Metro Police Department. And for those of you who don't engage on Twitter, even if you don't, you can still look at Twitter and see what's going on over there. And the Twitter feed for it's LMPD, the Louisville Metro Police Department Twitter feed has been going off for the past 48 hours, like in an unhinged way. It's crazy, to the point where like media have been asking about it. Let me just read you a couple of things on their feed. Okay. So they're going back like 48 hours talking about all the car accidents and why are people driving? You're driving, you're all a bunch of idiots. Okay. So let's start back about 23 hours ago. They're posting pictures of like their crime scene unit, and they're like posting pictures of the Omni Hotel, and it says Omni looking pretty. So this goes back to the 25th. I'm just going to read it to you. All quiet downtown for now. And then there's a picture of a patrol car with lights on, like in a lot of snow. In case you were wondering, our crime scene unit discovered that their uniforms will in fact freeze and stand up on its own. And then they have some pictures and they're taking selfies in front of their trucks. And then night shift shenanigans are starting around here, and we're here for it. And then there's two of them and like in front of like their golf cart thing. And then it starts here, January 25th. A lot of y'all are traveling with your check engine light on, and it's showing. Stay home. We've pushed so many cars today, the officers are adding personal trainer to their resumes. Don't skip leg day. Someone just asked if snow chains were like necklaces for tires. I can't do this anymore. We're exhausted. Next, PRP residents woke up like roads look fine, and then immediately high centering their Camrys on a snowdrift. Stay home. Valley Station's official snowplow is still just Gary and a lifted Ram doing donuts. Damn it, Gary, do you ever run out of gas? Okay, this is the official Louisville Metro Police Department Twitter feed. It is giving me life too. Technical ad, it's giving me life. Highland folks taking walkable neighborhood a little too seriously. Seen 3 people skiing to Heine Brothers on Bardstown Road, then immediately falling on their butts. Serves you right. Stay home. Germantown residents are shoveling their sidewalks with artisan reclaimed wood shovels they swear they found at a flea market. At least they're not drunk like last night. Or maybe they are. The snow has suppressed the smell in Butchertown, and the residents are rejoicing. Moving on. Speeding tickets issued today, 0. That was 23 hours ago. 211 Baker just told dispatch he was temporarily humble. Bro, you're stuck in a ditch. We're on the way. We took a team vote and the results are in. We're not going. Officers are trying to stream the Rams Seahawks game, but these Altimas keep hitting guardrails. Knock it off, people. We're done for the night. Officer update. Officer can't drive for crap from our pinned video is okay. His ego is bruised after the video went viral, but that's his problem. Bruins 3-2. Stop it, Steve. But I'll allow it because I can't watch it here. It says here, HR has requested our social media team meet with them at 0800 tomorrow. Bro, that's way too early and we're sleeping in anyways. It's been a long weekend. And then they say, Karen and Chad are demanding us to log out, but they don't understand that we stay locked in. And there's a picture of a padlock. You all should see the absolute fishtails in our Cracker Barrel parking lots. And then they say bourbon sales in Louisville, and they've got like an upticker. If you hear someone say it ain't that bad, it's your cue to stay far away from their vehicle because they crash in 100%. If you want to know why your car insurance looks as high as your student loans, we encourage you to check out any interstate Trimark camera. It's Carmageddon. Stay home. It's like it's going on. 2 days of snow in Louisville, 0 lessons learned, hundreds of cars stuck, officers doing Olympic-level sled pushes, and half the state arguing with physics. We laughed, we cried, we questioned humanity. Thanks for the content, Louisville. Y'all are wild. See you tomorrow. And then they say, apparently, brushing off HR isn't an option. Wish us luck. Or don't. Breaking. HR has set a meeting with the social media team today at noon. Chat, are we cooked? HR told us to bring our phones. We don't think they meant it the way we took it. Anyway, this may be our last transmission. Hashtag pray for us. Rangers tied the game 3-3. What? And then there's a picture of a long hallway that looks like something out of Severance. And it says, what a long, boring hallway to our doom. We've decided to live tweet the incident. Wish us luck. I mean, this is hilarious. Shout out to the Louisville PD for doing it right. And then somebody's holding up a sign that says Human Resource Unit. I can't share the screen with you because I'll freeze. Nothing human about this place, TBH. Waiting to get called back. Someone just walked by with a folder labeled incident. We asked which incident. They said all of them. HR opened with, so about the snow tweets. We said, which one? They did not laugh. HR is scrolling. We didn't realize how many tweets we actually did until we saw her finger moving like a slot machine. This is not good, y'all. So funny. HR asked, did you call an entire neighborhood a menace? We said, respectfully, they slid a Toyota Camry into a Waffle House. They are not laughing. HR just said, give me the phone. We said, no. They said, yes. We said, this is police property. They said, even worse. Well, if I'm frozen, just too bad. Just listen to my voice. Follow my voice. Cops with a sense of humor. I don't know who runs their Twitter feed, but I want to give them all the props because we needed some laughs today. HR said we need balance. So here's our balance message. Take it or leave it. This was 8 hours ago. Please drive safe. Stop abandoning cars. Stop doing donuts in front of officers. Stop skiing behind pickup trucks, morons. Wow, they were big angry. We can't take a joke in 2026, chat. There was some, shall we say, middle ground for both HR and the social team, or so they say. All right, if I'm frozen, I got to close out everything. I'm closing out of everything. So go follow it yourself. LMPD, Louisville Metro Police Department Twitter feed. Then apparently there was a media conference and the media was even asking them about their Twitter feed. And it is funny. So funny. We needed a laugh. And sometimes we got to laugh. Otherwise, we're just going to cry. I'm going to go grab myself some dinner because, it's all inclusive here. So I can go to any restaurant I want tonight and it's kind of empty. So I'm going to go. Should I go for hibachi? Or should I go for, there's an Indian restaurant that I haven't tried. Okay, I'm frozen. I can't do anything about it. You might be behind. I don't know what you want me to do. We're just dealing with it. We're just dealing with it. Hibachi, maybe there's Indian. There's also, I don't know what else is over there that's open right now, but I also got to try and see if I can get a flight out of here at some point in the next couple of days. What? Hang on a second. Let me just check my email and see if there's anything in there that we need to discuss real quick before I go. Oh, one moment. I think that's it. Somebody said there's a Cardi B new lawsuit. Maybe we'll have a chance to take a look at that. This stream is almost definitely going to be shadow banned because of the topic. But I do think that everyone needs to know about the Lindsay Clancy case and all of the things that Lindsay went through. And the only reason that we're knowing about this is because she filed her lawsuit right before the statute of limitations expired. Had there been more time in the statute of limitations, we would not know all of this. So I imagine that this is going to be her defense in the criminal case, which is coming up in Norfolk County, as you know. And I'm going to see if Sarah Grace Patrick's bond hearing is going ahead tomorrow and see if there's any way I can possibly cover that. But hopefully I'll be home by Friday so that we can cover Aiden's hearing on Friday morning in Suffolk Superior. I think it's at 9:30. And I don't know what happened with the John Kerry trial. That was supposed to start next week. I don't know if cameras are going to be in there. That's for the 1986 murder of Claire Gravel. That one is in Essex Superior Court. Oh, thanks, Jill. Thanks, Jill. I appreciate you and your Venmo so much. And so let me know in the comments what you want to cover. Since we have limited capabilities here, we can just talk. We could talk amongst ourselves. We can't really screen share, and I can put documents up for you, but hopefully you're able to appreciate the reading of Lindsay Clancy's medical malpractice and negligence lawsuit. And, please share the stream out because it's just going to probably get shadow banned because nobody wants us talking about it, but it's important to talk about it, right? All right, you guys, I love you all. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy. Please stay safe out there because not only is the Louisville PD doing the Lord's work by at least making us laugh during this snowmageddon or whatever the hell they're calling it, but the internet is not a very safe place right now either. Thank you, Kat Randall, for gifting a membership. You're amazing. I love you with all of my heart. All right, you guys, stay cool. I said it all. Do all the things. Smash the like button. Share the stream out. Do everything. Thank you guys who are all out there on the cesspool of Twitter, sticking up for me. I appreciate it. I saw somebody sent me that Aiden wrote a really nice thing. So many of you shared it and had nice things to say. And just, don't send me the mean things that people say because I don't care and I don't want to know. And just, thank you all for your support. I really appreciate you guys so much more than you even know. Mwah. See you soon, guys. Peace out. Make sure you have your notifications set. Otherwise, you won't know what's going to happen tomorrow because I don't even know what's happening tomorrow. Peace. Okay. Bye. Hasta luego, amigos. Thank you, Piney Woods, so much for your last minute memo. I appreciate you so much. Bye, guys. Peace. Hasta luego.